When the music stopped and the laughter faded into the night, Ethan Brooks stood quietly by the exit, holding his car keys, watching his coworkers stumble out of the hotel ballroom. He had no plans to party, he couldn't afford to. His babysitter was waiting at home with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, and every minute after midnight meant another few dollars he didn't have. But just as he turned to leave, a shaky voice called his name. "Ethan, wait." It was Claire Reynolds, his boss. The woman everyone in the office both respected and feared. Perfect hair, perfect suits, perfect composure, except tonight, she was far from it. Her usually calm gray eyes were glazed, her voice slurred, and her heels wobbled dangerously on the pavement. "Claire, you okay?" Ethan asked, instantly concerned. She tried to wave him off. "I'm fine, just need a minute." But when she took a step, she nearly fell. Ethan caught her before she hit the ground. "I think you've had enough to drink," he said softly. Claire gave a weak laugh. "You think?" The valet had already left, and her car keys dangled from her hand. Ethan hesitated. She was his boss. Driving her home could be misinterpreted, but leaving her alone in that state wasn't something his conscience would allow. "Claire," he said carefully, "let me drive you home. I'll make sure you get there safely." She blinked at him for a moment, then nodded, whispering, "You're a good man, Ethan." He didn't know why, but those words hit him harder than expected. The drive was quiet except for the sound of rain starting to fall. Claire leaned her head against the window, mumbling about how everyone thought her life was so perfect. Ethan didn't reply. He knew better than to interrupt someone carrying that kind of weight. When they reached her house, a mansion on the edge of the city, Ethan helped her inside. The lights flickered on, revealing a large but lonely home. She looked around as if seeing it for the first time. "I work so much, I forget what this place looks like," she whispered. Then, before stumbling up the stairs, she turned back to him. "You're a good father, Ethan. Don't ever lose that." He froze. "How do you know that?" She smiled faintly. "Lily's drawing's on your desk. You always keep one there. I notice things, even when people think I don't." The next morning, Ethan woke up early as usual. He'd gotten home past 2 a.m. and only managed a couple of hours of sleep before Lily climbed into bed beside him. "Daddy, you came home late again," she murmured. He kissed her forehead. "Yeah, sweetheart. Had to help someone last night." When he arrived at work later that morning, he braced himself for trouble. Surely Claire wouldn't remember much, but what if she did? What if she thought he'd overstepped? To his surprise, her office door was open. She looked fresh, professional again, as if last night had never happened. But when their eyes met, she gestured for him to come in. "Ethan," she said quietly, "thank you for last night. I owe you an apology, and probably more than that." He shook his head. "You don't owe me anything, ma'am. I just wanted to make sure you were safe." Her expression softened. "Still, I said some things I meant, even if I shouldn't have said them then. You're a good man, and a good father. I'd been thinking about that a lot today." Ethan shifted awkwardly. "Just trying my best." "I know," she said. "And I also know how hard it is when you're doing it alone." He looked up, surprised. Claire continued, her voice gentler now. "My father raised me by himself. I used to think success was about being the best. But lately, I think I lost sight of what really matters." For a moment, there was silence. Two people, so different, yet both broken in quiet ways, seeing a reflection of each other. Then Claire took a breath. "Ethan, I want to make a proposal. There's a new opening in management. You've been doing the work of 3 people for months without complaint. You deserve better." His mouth fell open. "Are you serious?" She smiled. "Completely. And this isn't charity. It's recognition." Weeks passed, and Ethan's life began to change. The promotion meant he could finally afford better childcare for Lily and start saving again. More importantly, it gave him a sense of pride he hadn't felt since before his wife passed away 3 years ago. Claire, too, began changing. She started leaving the office earlier, volunteering at the children's hospital on weekends. Sometimes she'd stop by Ethan's desk just to ask about Lily. Slowly, a friendship bloomed, unexpected but deeply genuine. One Friday evening, as they both packed up, Claire said softly, "You know, that night you drove me home. I thought my world was falling apart. But maybe it was just falling into place." Ethan smiled. "Funny, I was thinking the same thing." Months later, at the company's annual gala, things looked very different. Ethan was now a confident manager, and Claire, though still his boss, felt more like a mentor and friend. When she took the stage to speak, she looked out over the crowd and said, "Sometimes, the people who change our lives the most aren't the ones above us, but the ones beside us, who show us grace when we least deserve it." Her eyes met Ethan's across the room. And in that moment, everyone clapped, unaware of the quiet story between them, the night a single dad drove his drunk boss home and reminded her, and maybe himself, what kindness truly means. Because sometimes, the smallest act of decency can rewrite two broken lives.